Hello and welcome to the teaching of the Seven Sacred Seals. As you may know, the Gene Keys are a wisdom teaching that consists of a series of transmissions or revelations. And each transmission has a different purpose and meaning, but together they all create a beautiful synthesis, a kind of energetic tapestry of higher consciousness that can transform your life onto a higher plane of being. So I want to tell you what the seven seals are in a short and sweet version first, and then I'll give you a bit more detail. The seven seals are a mystical teaching. There are teachers who teach truth without mysticism, and if their wisdom is true, then they're verified in that. And those are the different approaches to awakening. And the transmission of truth comes in many unique ways, but it's still the same truth. So the seven seals are a series of inner callings that you send out into your life. And what you're doing is you're calling upon specific higher forces to come down and work in your life. And these forces, you might call them angels, you might call them higher frequencies or divine aspects of your greater self. But these forces are real, and they have a single purpose, and that is to open up your heart to a higher vision of yourself and to others. And as you work with these forces, as you invoke them, so you experience inner healing. And the seven sacred seals are part of the Corpus Christi transmission, which is the mystical heart of these teachings of the Gene Keys. So the Corpus Christi, the body of Christ, it draws from many systems, archaic and modern, to bring you a profound understanding of the hidden energetic structure of the human being. The Corpus Christi is the science of the rainbow body, the human aura, that emits a range of subtle energetic signatures at different levels of frequency. In other words, there's far more to a human being than just what we see. And although science can't yet perceive the subtlest layers of our being, they have been known about for millennia, and they've been described in depth and detail by many civilizations, masters, and teachings. So the Corpus Christi is built upon the notion that we have seven basic layers of frequency, seven subtle bodies. Seven is the key mystical number. And you can learn and you can read about them in the 22nd Gene Key and in my book, where I describe each of the subtle bodies in the empowerment glossary at the back. And the seven sacred seals arise out of this tradition of understanding our energy body as a focal point for the light of consciousness, organized into these seven essential rays or bandwidths. So of all the transmissions that make up this mystical side of the Gene Keys, the seven sacred seals, it's really the most feminine in essence. And being feminine, it's also very practical and very easy to do. It's a teaching you can use in your life on an ongoing basis. And over time, it will transform your life. So essentially, these seven seals are an invocation of the spirit of grace. And they open you up to higher forces, and using a system of correspondences, they bring these forces right down into our mental, emotional, and physical bodies. In other words, this teaching will change the way you think, it will change the way you respond emotionally to others, and it will change the way your body feels on the inside, so it can deeply improve and impact your health and well-being. The seven sacred seals are also a standalone transmission, which means that you can follow these teachings without knowing anything else whatsoever about the Gene Keys, and you'll get considerable benefit from it. However, the Gene Keys is a synthesis, which means that it uses multiple teachings on different layers of our being at the same time, so it has the maximum impact on us, catalyzing and quickening us in a way that very few other teachings can. So in this respect, the seals are designed to dovetail precisely with the Venus sequence, which is the second part of the Golden Path journey of the Gene Keys. And that's about emotional transformation through our relationships and the process of healing the subtle layers of wounding around our hearts. So if you want to experience the true depth and impact of the Venus sequence and of this teaching, I thoroughly recommend you look at the Golden Path, and particularly the Venus sequence. So what are the 7 seals and how do they work? And before I answer this question, you need to remember that this is a mystical transmission. So the answer is not going to be easy to put into words, because you'll discover what the seals are once you've begun to invoke them in your life. Essentially, though, the seals are portals woven into the architecture of our subtle bodies. They're a series of secret back doors into the matrix. So when your awareness passes through these doors, they trigger pathways of healing and transcendence. Since the beginning of time, humans have carried a wound deep inside. It's the reason for our suffering. And that wound has 7 aspects. There are 6 layers of wounding inside us, and each layer is effectively held in check by a seal, like the seal on an envelope. And the 7th seal stands alone because it triggers the opening of all the other ones. And I know this sounds unusual, but it's actually very simple. And through your Venus sequence, you can see the specific pattern of how you learn to shut down your heart through the cycles of your childhood. So through working with the Venus sequence in your relationships and increasing your awareness of your defense and your reaction patterns, you'll come to see the nature of your specific wounding. However, the deeper you go, the further back the wounding goes, until you get to what I call the core wound, the sacred wound, an imprint that you've inherited through your ancestral DNA, a karmic pattern that lies outside our individual ability to heal it. And it's this aspect of our consciousness, this core wound, because it's collective rather than personal, it carries a great weight in our interior consciousness. And no matter how much therapy you do, or how much body work, or how much meditation or yoga, this sacred wound, it's too deep to be reached by you as an individual. It's a place where we need to call upon help from a higher evolution than our own. So your core wound actually conceals your full awakening. So anyone who has ever awakened has had to pass through this place of inner death, of darkness and annihilation. And this is what the sacred 7 seals are for. We have to open these seals, and as we do, our awareness expands. But each seal can be a tight squeeze, because it involves a deep inner surrender, and at such times, the tendency is to be overcome by fear or trepidation or excitement, or sometimes just overwhelmed by the frequencies coursing through us. You know, our awakening is a passage into the underworld, and there are many forces that we meet along the way, and some of them are not nice. But for each of these inner challenges, there's a corresponding higher frequency, an angelic presence, a higher siddhi, a divine magical essence. And that will protect us and keep us calm as we move through the transformation. And this is what the seals are for. They keep us calm. They allow us to float in the gentleness and the tenderness of the divine spirit of grace. So no matter what comes up inside you, you'll feel safe. So the seals are the 7 agents of grace, and we have to invoke them on an ongoing basis until we feel them all around us, moving within us, reminding us that all is well, that all is taken care of by the Divine Mother. So what we do is we invoke the 7 qualities of grace and their siddhis and their vibrations, and we invoke them to come into our attractor field, and we need to get to know them intimately. And then our passage becomes easier because our heart can remain open no matter what is occurring in our lives. And when we achieve that, anything and everything is possible. So if you're on the journey, and we all are, and you're ready for this kind of acceleration, then the 7 sacred seals will greatly help you. In fact, they are healing in any situation whatsoever for anyone. They're balm for the soul. They're healing qualities to ease our grief, to soften our rough edges, to take the harshness out of our tone, and to make all our life situations easier. They're a gift from the higher realms. All we have to do is invoke them. As Jesus said, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. It's funny how easily we forget to knock. And the 7 sacred seals are your knock on the door of the divine. They are an invocation and a prayer for solace and softness, for clarity and truth, and above all, for the power of grace.